Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you love to do?
So, from a business perspective, I own the restaurant Third Wave. Been doing it for 12 years. Otherwise, I run businesses all my life, different ones, property development, a little bit with IT, so computer, wholesale, retail, etc. And really, my life is business. I have two kids. They're grown, going to uni. Have a wife, and lately my interest has been in Web3, crypto, and NFTs, and that's why I guess we're here.
Amazing, yeah. I want to dive into Web3, but first I just want to know a little bit more about the restaurant. So I've spent a lot of time doing photography and spending time in really nice restaurants in both Australia and Europe. And I haven't actually tried your food yet. I'm very excited to. But just looking at the photos and the social media management, it looks incredible.
Okay.
What's the concept behind it? And so you mentioned it's been around for 12 years. Is that right?
Yeah, it started out as a little cafe, and it grew into something different. It's now a restaurant. We're not a cafe anymore, even though the name is still, the word cafe is in the name. What we're doing now, really, and that's maybe a little bit different to what a lot of other places are doing, is our main cuisine effectively is American barbecue slow smoked meats. You know, it's a type of meat that you can cut with a spoon. Where, you know, where it's
No knives.
soft
No knives anywhere.
juicy. That's right, soft juicy. It's smoked for 10 to 14 hours, so everything becomes really flavorful. And burgers. And what we've started doing, and this is where you saw some of our social media that's doing exceptionally well. People really relate to it. Is we started injecting theater into our food, such that as a customer, when you come, you don't just eat tasty food, you also get entertainment. So
Okay.
just like if you go to a theater, you only get entertainment. If you go to a restaurant, you only get tasty food. Let's hope. Here, you actually get both.
Okay.
Because we inject that element of entertainment into our food, how we present it, how it comes out to your table, what you taste, smell, feel, touch, hear, all of those things are present in how we present our food.
All of those senses are really represented online. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And look, in marketing, the more senses you engage as part of your product process, sales process, the more chances that the customer will either buy or be happy with the purchase.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's what we're doing, and this is why our socials, and we have a certain way of presenting what we do out there to the world, and this is why if you have a look at our socials, they are punching way above our weight. So we're basically a 100-seater restaurant, and we are, for the size of business that we're probably in top 1% of these types of restaurants being presented on socials with the following, with the engagement, etc.
I noticed you got a lot of Google reviews, which is really fundamental for especially new business finding where you are. How did you amass so many reviews? Was there a push strategy where you were encouraging people to leave reviews, or is that something that happened organically?
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, we can't leave anything to happen organically, so we have to manage, and yeah, so you will find that for a business that we are, for the size that we have more reviews than businesses 10 times the size, if not 100 times the size, because we pay attention, because and both Facebook and Google, all reviews are important. So reviews have two importance in our opinion. One is social proof. Obviously, people want to see where they're going before they go there, and they check it out. But secondly, when it comes to Google, for example, let's call it Google Juice. I really like that name.
Google Juice.
Google Juice, that's right. Basically, Google Juice is every aspect of SEO that you can imagine, and Google will basically show you higher in rankings. With the more reviews you've got, the higher it will show. So we kill two birds, one stone. One is we give Google Juice, and two, we let people know who we are. So we absolutely spend a lot of time and effort on trying to receive as many reviews as we can.
Amazing. So Third Wave is one of the first restaurants in Australia / potentially the world to be adopting a full-blown NFT strategy. How did you yourself find your way into the Web3 and NFT space?
Okay. So I've been playing around with not NFT, but crypto since 17. So I bought some Bitcoin at 3,500, I think.
Lovely.
Not a lot. I wish I bought more, but I bought a little bit at that time. So I've been in that universe for a few years. Although after this 18 crash, I stopped and did nothing for about 2 years, and then slowly got myself back into it, and spent a lot of time and effort just understanding what this is, because there's a lot to understand, and I don't think anybody understands fully. It's a rabbit hole that goes, I don't know where
In
the end
every
of it. Yeah,
direction.
that's right. I don't know where the end of that is, but spent a lot of time trying to understand it. Ultimately got to NFTs, and truthfully never liked where the NFT world was going. So this would have been probably mid of 2021, right? And that's when the main craziness happened, right? So basically from May of 21 to the end of that year, everything NFT related went absolutely bananas. So it started in January, but it really was nothing compared to where it all went from May. So Bored Ape came out in May, and then it spurred everything else, and it just went bananas.
It went ballistic, yeah.
That's right. And when I looked at it, I believed that I understood what NFTs could be good for, but they were not what was happening. So what was happening in my mind wasn't what the NFTs were going to be good for and going to be used for in the future. And I thought that they're useful, they're very good for all sorts of different things. And we are going to transition to using an NFT type concept for pretty much all our assets that we own. Real world assets are all going to be represented as a digital representation. Let's call them NFT, it'll be called something else.
Sure.
Which brought me to the point of thinking, all right, well, if presenting pictures and calling them NFTs is not what I think the benefit here is, what is? So which brought me to thinking about our business and how can we utilize in our business so that it's beneficial. It's a win-win. It's a win for the customer, it's a win for the NFT holder, it's a win for us, right? They're the best kinds of strategies where everybody wins. There's no losers here. And ultimately, I came up with a solution that we wanted to bring to life. Took a long time because I have some IT knowledge, but still, this is all new. This is all reasonably complicated. Not many people know how to implement it A to Z correctly, and those people that say they know, they actually don't. There's a lot of misleading information out there.
Absolutely.
Just like anywhere, but in this area, it seems to be prevalent. So it took us some time, and when we ended up getting it done, it still was broken. But we can talk about that journey, the entire journey of how that project actually came to life.
Yeah, I'm keen to jump in.
Yeah.
You mentioned before that there are so many different use cases that you saw it for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind just giving us a little top down of where your mind was at and is at now for utility behind NFTs in multiple different industries?
Yeah, look, absolutely. So the utility of the general utility of paying the artist, the creator, basically, of whatever, it doesn't really matter what they create, on resale is a massive utility that at the moment doesn't really exist, and will help everybody. There's no losers here. Again, the only loser would be a scalper. But ultimately, it'll be a benefit to everyone. The consumer is going to have transparency, right? And the creator, whether it's art or not, it doesn't really matter, is going to have continual benefit on resale, which is amazing, right?
Royalties in perpetuity.
Absolutely, it's amazing, right? So that's great. And then the other amazing use case is just NFT is a unique representation of something in a digital form, right? That's it, really, as far as I'm concerned. So that's my interpretation. Maybe others will have something different. And therefore, anything unique could be represented on chain and therefore have transparency in what happens to it, and therefore also can be acted upon in a much cleaner way and also a faster way. And therefore, any asset that is unique, that can be represented uniquely, I believe, will ultimately be represented by an NFT of some kind.
And it doesn't necessarily just stop at a piece of art or a piece of clothing. It can be everything from a membership to tickets.
To a property title, to a car ownership to boat ownership to you name it.
Identity.
You name it. Anything that has a unique representation that can be represented uniquely, ultimately, I believe, will be represented uniquely as a digital form, as an NFT or some variant of it. And therefore, if you, the way I conceive it is this: so if you took all the property titles and you made them into NFTs and they're on chain, right now, to borrow against the property, you have to go to a bank. You have to fill out a million different pieces of paper. You have to basically have a gatekeeper that's going to give you money, maybe give you money, maybe not give you money. You have to disclose your life to them, etc., etc. And then what happens is that once it all goes and it works and it's final, they actually give you money, but they don't give you money. They give you the seller money, right? And then you have to pay the rest, and that's really what happens. Then what happens is that you don't actually have that title. That title sits with the lender until you repay them. Okay, that's fine. That's how it operates. If that title was an NFT, and let's say you did purchase the property and you wanted to borrow money, you could have anybody in the world invest in that property with ease. And what could happen is you could go to a pool and say, look, here's me, who wants to risk lending money against these properties with a real title, and that person or people or companies could be anywhere in the world at any time, assessing that risk and deciding whether they want to give it to you and at what rate. That whole process takes seconds. Okay, it's probably pre-automated already. And for you to borrow money now against this property might take you 5 minutes, as opposed to months and months of your life, right? But you can extend that further by saying, okay, well, now that happened, let's say you want to draw down a little bit. Let's say your property went up in price and you want to draw down a little bit more. What do? You have to go to the bank and go through the whole rigmarole again to get a line of credit of some kind right now, right? Here, you basically, it's a couple of clicks of a button, but you're borrowing money for what? You probably want to buy something, right? You're not borrowing money to get money. Who needs money? You don't want money, you want something, right? In Web3, you don't have to go from a line of credit on a property to money to something. You can go straight to something.
It's cutting out the middleman.
Cutting out a million different steps, right? So why wouldn't there be a situation like this that I've just described? It just makes sense. It makes things cheaper, faster, easier, better for everybody. The only people it doesn't make things better for are banks. Okay, so I wonder what their business model is going to look like in 10 years.
That'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
So you've talked about how it can disrupt the financial industry, financial markets. How have you then brought it in to a micro level, and how is it helping your restaurant?
So the model that we've created ultimately is made up of a few different parts. We're looking at the NFT that we've created as a membership, ultimately, right? We're calling it membership on steroids because it's way better than a normal membership would be. And the primary reason for it is that memberships normally in centralized economies are not transferable in any way whatsoever. If you add value to a membership, which a lot of membership allow you to do, like frequent flyer points, right? It starts out with, okay, you have this membership, and then you build up an amount of points, and that adds value to the membership. So a membership with 1 million points is valued much higher than a membership with 1 point.
But then you can't sell it.
But then you can't transfer it. You can't do anything. You can't transfer neither the value in it or the actual membership itself. You can't do anything with it.
Even though you accrued it.
Even though you accrued value in it, it belongs effectively to somebody else, right? So that value is not yours. You can use it if they let you, how they let you. But it's actually not yours, and you can't transfer it. Therefore, you cannot, it's a one-off, right? So what NFTs allow you to do with a membership is it becomes transferable. Whether you sell it or give it, doesn't matter. You can transfer it, right? There could be a financial transaction or not. It's up to you, right? But you can do it.
So it entitles you to ownership.
Tells you to ownership, right? Yeah. And if you build value on it, you can actually add value and then receive value back for that work that you've put in, whatever work that is, whatever effort that you've put into it. That's why we call it membership on steroids, because yes, it's membership. Yes, it gives the owners certain benefits, just like other memberships could and would, right? But with an NFT, you can transfer it. So in our case, if you own an NFT which gives you benefits, if you don't want it anymore for some reason, or if you whatever reason you want, the point is you can transfer it to somebody else.
And so the idea is that people come and they visit your restaurant, they have an experience, they have a bill. Does that experience then transfer onto their NFT?
It does. So okay, let's talk about what the NFT entitles the owner to have. So we have a couple of tiers. We have a gold and a platinum. One is cheaper, one is more expensive.
Sure.
Right. So the cheaper one, the gold, is effectively $250 US. The reason it's in US and we're in Australia is because, look, when we came up with the concept, really everything was measured in either ETH or US dollars, and we just kept with the trend, right? And we're sticking with the trend. And the benefits that you get with that NFT is you get $500 worth of food. That's a credit, effectively. So the benefit is greater than the value or the cost of the NFT. Plus, you get some merch. You get access to very unique and special events that are NFT holders only. And you get access to some profits from the restaurant.
So I heard you mention that in a Twitter space hosted by the Bread Brothers last week. And I was really fascinated by that, especially having an understanding of, what the margins are like in restaurants and, obviously the recent pandemic and how that's really hit. Was that a tough decision or an interesting decision for you to share profits? Because I've never heard of that before in hospitality, and I think it's an amazing.
It's unique. I'll take you through the rest, and then I'll answer that question as well.
Sure.
So so that's gold. The platinum costs $1,050 US. What you get with platinum is this: you get 30% off for life of yours and 3 other people that you bring bill in a restaurant. You also, as part of what we do here, we do amazing specials every month. We do a couple of crazy specials that are over the top. They're designed to look good, feel good, present well on internet, taste good. They're big. They cost anything from $80 to $300 each. You get one of those free every month. Okay. Plus you get even more access to restaurant profits. You get more merch. You also get some sources, etc. So, and then finally, our idea was that we want to create at some point, a little bit down the track, a restaurant metaverse where you can actually add value. So you're going to get a drop of land for free as an NFT holder, both gold and platinum, and you'll be able to add value to that land. And we started thinking about how to, because metaverses right now, they're a gimmick still, and we can talk about all of that. But the idea behind what we were trying to do is we wanted to bring digital to real life as opposed to real life to digital. And I don't see anybody doing that really just yet. The idea was that you'll be able to, in that land and metaverse, you'll be able to value add and you'll be able to create things, especially dishes that we could actually then execute in a restaurant.
Wow.
So that's a little bit down the track, but that's something that was part of the roadmap. Roadmap is a dirty word now, but okay. So that's what was the thinking. So the main point for me always is provide a product or service that is going to provide more value to the buyer than the cost of the product or service. And this is where the pricing and the benefits of the NFTs came from. So in a goal, you simply get more credit in food than you're paying for it. So the investment is neither here or there. It doesn't matter, right? Whatever you paid, you're going to get back just because you use the NFT. Everything else is a bonus.
So are the benefits to you as the business owner and the creator, is it more in secondary sales and a branding exercise as opposed to economic profits from the start, or?
There are many. So that's for the purchase of the NFT. For us, there are a number of different benefits, and the profit share comes into it as well. What it allows us to do, this membership NFT project, is it allows us to create another model for raising money that a small business just does not have. So a small business has the ability to borrow money from a bank, which is almost impossible. Small business has the ability to sell part of the business, because if you sell all the business, then you're not raising money, you're just selling business. If you're selling part of the business, then okay, you're able to raise some money or extract value from the capital of the business as opposed to the operations of the business. But that doesn't happen. Who wants to buy half a business or a quarter of a business? Nobody does that in most cases, right? So really, a small business of any kind has absolutely no way of raising money whatsoever. Okay, very, very few, very limited. This gives an opportunity to do so, to basically extract capital value out of a small, without selling the thing. What if you want to keep running the business? What if you like the business? What if you want the business to exist under your umbrella as opposed to somebody else's? Well, and what if you want to extract some of the benefit that you accrued in the business over a long period of time because it has goodwill, it has value, etc.? Well, you can't. With this method, you can. Okay, so you can actually extract some value. And my thinking was that, okay, well, if I'm extracting value, I need to give some back, as I always do. And that's where the access to profits ultimately comes from, is that's my giving back, right, for that value creation in that the NFT holders will provide me.
My favorite part of all of that is that you're creating more evangelist fans, right? I mean, if someone owns a part of your business, if they can bring 3 friends down and get 30% off their bill, you're just creating people in the city that are so excited to support you and to come in and to get your monthly specials, and you're promoting word of mouth, which I think is still one of the most powerful marketing strategies you can adopt.
You're absolutely right. So we call our NFT holders super customers because they are more loyal. They treat it a little bit like it's part of them, because in effect it is, not directly but indirectly it is. And that's a lot of people thinking is perception. It's not necessarily reality. It's what you feel, what you think, what you understand, and that's what the understanding of our NFT holders is. And because we do the special events, they get together, right? So there is a community building, right? So we don't have a community of our customers. I mean, the closest we can get to that is people who follow us on Facebook. So they comment and they engage. Right? Okay, that's great, and that's a community. But the community of our NFT holders is much tighter, because they're able to communicate within themselves on Discord. Then they can come and meet in real life, which is unusual for a digital project. Right.
I think it's amazing because they all have they have 2 common interests, which is both the business and NFTs. And so you've created a little community straight off the bat.
And ultimately for the business, so let's talk about business perspective and where the benefit is for the business. I like marketing. Marketing, I think, is the number one thing when it comes to business. And you can imagine that if somebody purchased an NFT and spent some money, and they can get a discount by using that let's say membership with that NFT, it's more likely than not that they will try to use it as much as possible. It's just natural to think that way, right? Now, if they bought a platinum NFT and they wanted a discount, right? Are they going to come by themselves? Most likely they're not. Most likely they're going to bring someone, whether it's their friends, whether they're going to do a party, whatever, right? They're going to bring someone. Now, those people are new to our business, so they are introducing new customers to us and paying us for the privilege. Okay. Brilliant. So again, win-win. So nobody loses here. So it's not like they somehow lose out. No, they get a benefit. Their friends get a benefit. Everybody gets a benefit. We get a benefit, right? And then their friends like what we do, because normally people like what we do, and they come back and they might buy the NFT, or they might just say, okay, that's not for me, but I like the food. I'm going to become a customer.
Yep.
So you're absolutely right. By selling these NFTs, first of all, we're raising some funds for ourselves. We're giving a benefit to the NFT holder, and then that NFT holder becomes a marketing channel for us down the track.
It's a no-brainer.
Not really, if you think about it from that perspective. So a lot of people asked us, why are we giving away so much value? So that's a common question, because it's a lot more value than what normally businesses would give away. And the reason for it is because the value that's given away, it's given away on the front end, whereas the profit is always made on the back end. Okay, so that back end being that customers bring customers, right? So to do that, I need to first have someone who actually starts the process.
Yes.
Right. So I'm okay with giving away a certain value, given that I know that lifetime value of that client is going to be significantly greater than whatever I'm giving away.
It's future thinking. It's thinking forward.
It's ultimately I put it down to marketing because marketing is all about how do you get more people to come and buy whatever it is you're selling. It doesn't really matter.
Can you talk a little bit more about the profit share element? So is there a specific percentage that then gets split between whoever is holding an NFT at that time? How often is it split?
Yeah, so the process of profit share is this. It's complicated because of legalities associated with it. So to comply with legalities, what is happening is that a DAO is created and all NFT holders will have voting rights in that DAO.
Okay, right.
Okay, and what will happen is that DAO will manage the NFT holders on the behalf of the NFT project.
Okay.
The profit is going to be paid into the DAO's treasury, and then the NFT holders will vote. So basically, what will happen is that the amount of the profit that's distributed is actually going to be distributed to the DAO. It'll be distributed to the DAO for the service that the DAO provides, and then the NFT owners who are also going to be have voting rights in the DAO will decide whether they want that profit to that treasury to be distributed to them. So it'll be completely up to the NFT holders. It'll be completely decentralized. We will have no part of the vote, and then if they vote for distribution of the treasury, they'll be able to convert it into a stablecoin.
The DAO mechanic's really interesting, and I can definitely see the use case for it. But one thing that I'm a little hesitant with bringing it into small business is how the people will actually react to it. Did you get any sort of friction there? Were they intimidated by it, or were they really interested in learning about it and getting involved?
I didn't get any pushback. We're going to make it very simple. The idea is just going to be the possibility of voting for an initiative. That could be distribution, and then there's going to be a little mini DEX where you can have your tokens that you would be issued every year to be converted into a stable coin or not. That's it.
Awesome.
That's as complicated as it's going to get.
All right, cool. So you've brought NFTs into your marketing strategy, and you've had people inquiring. Did you have a pushback from your regular customers? Did you have any negative feedback? Were people not sure about how to get involved? How did you sort of deal with that process?
Okay. There are a lot more people out there who are not in Web3 world than there are in Web3 world. And even further, not in NFT world. Even if those people are in Web3 world, effectively, they might be on a centralized exchange, so they bought some crypto at some point. They don't know anything about an NFT because an NFT requires personal wallet creation of some kind. Our thinking was always that we should be dealing and promoting to the average person. We started doing that, and in fact, 30% of what sold to people who never dealt with crypto of any kind.
That number's astronomical.
It is.
Honestly, that's amazing. And I'm really keen to dive into how you bridge that gap.
Credit cards. We allow people to use something they know to buy something they don't know, but they understand the value in whatever it is that they're buying. So that's how we bridge that. And now with our new effort in promoting it, we were going to be promoting it a lot more to the average person out there who will benefit from what we do from the NFT, not from the point of view of they want to flip it, they want value add, they want it increase in price, whatever, just from the benefit of the NFT itself. And if it goes up in value because it does, okay, well, that's good. That's very much secondary, a tertiary effect, not primary. Crypto Web3 people, okay, live in an insular universe that only relates to Web3 people and only in a very narrow way. They forgot that the majority of people, huge majority of people, are actually not Web3. And they don't care about Web3. And they don't know why Web3 is so weirdly created, right? And that nobody thinks about UI or UX or that it's going to be easy for the average person to use. Nobody cares about that. I don't know why they think they do, but they don't. You just need to use any website associated with Web3, and you're going to scratch your head as to why did they do that, right? Even the biggest ones, even the Binances of the world, right? They are so complicated to use, and that's probably because they started with Web3 thinking as opposed to normal thinking that we're all normal humans and we do things in a particular way. And we should probably create products for people who do things in a particular way as opposed to trying to get them to do it in a different way. So that's my gripe. My gripe is that Web3 universe is very small. It's insular. It only thinks of itself and it doesn't think about the rest of the world. And therefore no adoption from anywhere outside of Web3. The trickle of people coming into Web3, they're coming in primarily because they hear of the investment opportunity, whatever. It's a money opportunity. They're not coming in for any other reason, and they won't until I think Web3 universe starts dealing with the average person in the way they should be dealt with.
I do tend to agree that it's a very insider's game. And, especially through the bull run, everyone was just jumping in and trying to get out what they could. But it's interesting now in the bear market, you've still got a lot of people in the game, such as yourselves. And you got a lot of people building, a lot of businesses building and trying to make these processes as frictionless as possible. And, the more people that we talk to, the more people we see are trying to actually educate, create educational content, create more content such as this, and sort of try to explain it in plain language. And that was something I wanted to touch on you with, was when you were promoting your project to your audience, what sort of language were you using? Were you saying the words NFT and Web3, or was it more talking about the utility and the benefits that you'd get, and then sort of explaining the tech behind it thereafter?
It always has to be benefits forward in anything, I believe, in anything that you promote in any way. It doesn't really matter. But with that, we did use the words NFT and we did use the word crypto. Because even though I keep saying that we wanted to market to non-Web3 public, we still focused on Web3 universe, and therefore we needed to present to them what they knew or understood. We're going to change that now, right? Because I think that the majority of buyers of the NFT will not be crypto people. It will be normal people. And there's a big distinction between the two.
Shifting gears, so busy Saturday morning run, and full house, everyone's pumping, short staffed, which is yep. Someone walks in with an NFT. How do you validate that NFT on the spot, frictionlessly, so that your staff can quickly seek them and get a move on with the rest of their job? And how do you keep track of who's had the special of the month, how much credit is on that account, etc., etc.?
Funny story. Initially, it was all done on paper and then transferred to a spreadsheet. But now we actually have software that does it.
Okay.
Finally, just recently, we've built the software, and it basically records all the data. And the next step, which is about a week from now, where you'll be able to, if you have an NFT, or you can look up any NFT that we have, what use it has had. So that if you're going to buy an NFT, because normally if you buy a picture, just a picture, okay, so it's got some attributes, you can check what those attributes and rarities are. Whereas in our case, you have use attached to it. So let's say in the gold tier, you got $500 to spend. Now you might not spend $400 in one go, you might spend $100, but then only $400 is left. So if you're selling it, right, theoretically, everything else is equal, it should have less value, because some of the value has been spent on it. Correct. So you want to know if you're buying it, you want to know. So that's coming probably a week from now, where you'll be able to look up any NFT and see if they took up the special this month, how much value they used in gold, etc., etc.
Okay, cool. So a staff member can theoretically scan the NFT or a QR code that is generated.
They can either type in the so what we request everybody is to load the NFT into a MetaMask wallet. Then they show us the MetaMask wallet with the NFT in it, or they just open the NFT. It'll have the number, or we can scan the MetaMask wallet, and it'll come up with what's in it, which NFT is in it, because there are people that have multiples.
Sure, absolutely, and there are also people that might screenshot and.
Yeah, they can't screenshot if we watch for them opening it inside their MetaMask.
Okay, all right.
So that's probably possible, but yeah, that's the ultimate is to scan the wallet. Okay, and that's something we have the capacity to do.
That's amazing, because it's something that I've had conversations with people, and that's a very common question. what does it look like in a busy service? Do you have any advice for restaurant owners that are curious, looking to want to get into the space, but not sure next step to take, or not sure if their client base is going to react to it properly or well?
Yeah, come talk to me. It's look. It's not simple. You need to get your head around it. But there is a lot more value in this for a restaurant. Enough value that they should get their head around it. Okay, so because this is a whole new platform, a whole new way to provide additional value to your clients and to yourself.
Yeah.
Which is great, because again, there's the win-win. But ultimately, so the problem with Web3 right now is you need to know a lot to get this done. So yes, you can hire people, companies that will help you out, right? Problem with that is that if you don't know yourself, you can't judge that help. You don't know if they're doing the right thing, the wrong thing, if they could be doing a better thing. You have no idea. You just given something, right? And you really don't. It's a black box. You don't know what just happened, right? And that's a problem. That's a problem in any area of life. Absolutely. But it's even more acute here, because there's so many things to know, and that helper, whoever they are, they might not know anywhere near enough to provide you with the necessary information. Because this is so new, the likelihood of that consulting company not knowing enough is huge. Absolutely massive.
I guess everyone's trying to learn together, and trying
That's
to work
right.
out the kinks.
So therefore, you have to know a little yourself, right? Otherwise, you can't judge. And that's a problem, because again, there's very few people out there who know anything about crypto in general and nuances to do with crypto and the technology. And most people don't know technology, period. But this is a whole subset of technology that you need to understand.
So speaking of education and making people aware, how did you educate because you said that 30% of people that purchased your NFTs were not crypto native. So what were the steps to actually getting them up to speed?
Okay, so a couple. So I very much believe in education, and what we did initially pre-launch is we actually ran some, let's call it mini seminars, where I taught a little bit about crypto, just what is crypto, just very general high-level stuff. And about NFTs, not to sell our NFTs. So 99% of the content was what is crypto, where's the benefits, where are the pitfalls, just generally getting people outside of crypto, outside of Web3, into Web3, understanding just what it is and what are NFTs, etc. And then lastly, okay, so here's the possibility of buying the NFT, and let me know if you have any more questions. So that went for about an hour and a half, 2 hour seminar, a little mini seminar, and we ran a few of those, and we're going to continue running them.
Cool, great. I think that's really important.
We had really good feedback. People, they were free. People could come in. Some came, some didn't. But because there was no. The point was not to make money on the information. The point was to teach people, and if they understood, they'd probably buy the NFT. If we didn't do our job right and we didn't present to them the information correctly, they certainly wouldn't.
Sure.
And we'll continue doing that. We'll probably be doing that every 2 weeks. We'll continue presenting, because we need to basically drag people kicking and screaming into the Web3 world for them to understand it, because there's lots of benefit for them outside of what we do.
Okay. So you're doing your part to educate and bring on retail. How can other creators and builders do their part to ensure that we one day get to mass adoption?
The fundamental aspect of promoting anything is to provide lots of value, enough value that it becomes a no-brainer. It becomes, why am I not doing this, right? It's not why should I, but why am I not, right? And if that kind of value is provided, then people will drag themselves into this field, because they want to participate, because in their mind it's not necessarily too good to be true, it's too good to pass up.
They're missing out.
Yeah. And not they're missing out because this thing might go from $1 to $2. Yeah, that's beneficial to some people, and some people value that, and that's fair enough. But just because there's value there for them that they want to have, right? It's like buying a car that's normally costs $50,000, but buying it for $20,000. There's lots of value there, right? People will just go and queue up to do that, as long as they believe that it's true, and it is true. right? So if the creator provides so much value that it becomes a no-brainer, that's going to start the process of people doing it themselves.
What do you think is required for a business to execute a successful NFT project with regards to their audience they're following?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they maybe need a certain number of followers on social media? Do you think they need a particularly loyal customer base? Are there any aspects that are required?
So what we've done does require certain criteria to be met, right? So not every business can do it because they can't provide the value to the NFT holder. Every business, I don't believe, can do that.
Mm.
A lot of businesses can, but not every business. Your local fish and chips place, probably not going to work, but some restaurant that has some following and has a greater understanding and scope of value they can provide that is outside of just providing food just today and just for you, they can do that, right? So you need to have a strategy that is greater than just what you do every day.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the initial response when you decided to drop your NFT project?
Yeah, so we promoted it on our social channels, so Facebook and Insta, and it was a lot of pushback because the NFT has a bad name out there in non-Web3 world, and we had to defend ourselves. And I was really adamant, and I did not do what most businesses would do in this PC world.
Okay.
I basically pushed back. I basically pushed on their just clear. They're begging the project. They're saying it's fake, it's false, it's scam, blah blah blah. So I pushed back on, prove it. Okay, if you are accusing us that we are so and so because we are doing an NFT project, prove it. So I pushed back. So that was my strategy of dealing with this stuff. Is that whenever somebody said something negative, I would challenge them on that negativity and ask them to provide some reason for why they're saying it, and not give in to generic reasons. Actually, ask for very specific reasons, and ultimately they'll go away. Because no one has any specific reasons to say something that this is bad. All they're doing is they're repeating what they've heard. Yeah, that's right. So where did it get me? I have no idea. Okay, all I know is that at the very least, I did not succumb to that pressure of negativity. We did not crumble. We just said, okay, well, fine. Let's have a normal conversation about it. If you are saying this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, okay, tell us why, and we will have a discussion. And most of the time, no one said why. Sometimes they would come back with because blah blah, and that blah blah was completely meaningless, as it often is. So the initial push met with a lot of negativity, right? Which effectively were rejected, and obviously some people looked through that and saw enough value. So that's really where we saw it, is that we have to push it out, and if some people have bad things to say, okay, we will start a dialogue, but the rest of the people might actually get the value and understand.
So do you think it is a little bit of a risk for hospitality businesses or any brands to jump into the NFT space?
Yes, if they are not clear about what they're doing. Okay, if they are clear and if they are really providing real value, okay, if it's not a scam, if it's real, then no, it's not a risk. But if there is anything in there that could be construed as incorrect or valueless or in any way a scam whatsoever, then it's a risk, because that can stick.
You're a very busy man, and you've been really successful in both the Web3 and the Web2 spaces. Do you have any advice or a motto that you sort of live by, or something that sort of keeps you going?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to give advice to people about how to live their life. I think my advice is everybody should live their life in the best way possible for them, I guess. And in regard to what can be done with Web3, I think people need to understand it, because I think most people don't. And if they understood it, they'd be able to utilize it better, or at all. And just most people just don't get it.
Greg, thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming and talking to me.
Anytime. Cheers.
No worries.